Hello.
Ew.
How are you?
Hanging in there.
My phone way across the way. It's my team call. What do you want to do? My good pen go. Oh, I'm a hot mess.
So, Mom, I challenge for you. So basically, give you $100 if you don't say no. Okay, it's really simple. Okay, so there's 3 hallways: a red hallway, a green hallway, and a blue hallway. Which one do you want to go down?
I'm not sure.
No, pick one.
The green hallway.
Okay, now there are 3 doors: the blue door, the red door, and the green. So the blue door, the red door, and the yellow door. Which door do you want to
Blue.
play this game for?
No.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right. I have to do this. Thank you.
Okay,
Love you. Bye.
She sounds just like you.
My entire family is on my very last nerves. We were just trying to play a game of Rummy before the call, which we were supposed to play at 7:30. We didn't start till like 8:20, and then the kids are playing so slow. I'm like, just pick a card. So I haven't like written my notes. I know what we're doing, but I haven't like written my notes, and that like throws me off. I'm such a pain in the butt. Oh my goodness. Lovely children of mine. Oh, you're they. Oh boy. Oh my Lord. I could take a nap right now. Because I have work to do for school. You'd think I could just go to bed.
Oh, you're almost done though, aren't you?
Today is tomorrow is our last day. But our grades are due at 8 a.m. and we're not allowed to fail any students that were not failing when this occurred.
Yeah.
But then I have to just like make up grades, which doesn't feel fair to the kids. Like, why is the kid who gets a D, why is that okay?
Yeah.
I like the college scale. Like at Rutgers, they had like such a crazy bell curve that everyone like passed.
It's just like, I know a lot of districts went to pass fail, but they didn't want our kids to drop off. But okay, so then don't let them drop off. But then right now, I'd be like, you're pass fail. You passed. Like, can we just do that? So it's like,
Well, if they don't want them to drop off, but yet they're not doing anything,
it does, and
that's
if
not
especially,
fair either.
and my fear is now, if we're going to start the school year most likely like this, now all these grades that I'm fudging, these kids are like, oh. I mean, I have two kids who have not done one thing. They did not show up for didn't do one thing. And now they're passing. And I get it. There are circumstances. I get it. I'm not opposed to it. But I just think it sets a bad precedent. Yeah. And then why do the kids with a D not get a C? And why do the kids with a C not get a B? I don't know. I'm just having a lot of anxiety and about it. Leslie, hello.
it would make a little more sense just to give them their grade, but still pass them, but just give them their true grade so they can see where they're at.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree.
What do we know?
What do we know?
Yeah, right?
Hello, everybody. We'll see if anyone else is going to join. This is probably going to be that, but just in case, drop your Success Club points in the chat while we give everybody a chance to pop in. Jackie is at 6, Teresa's at 12. You know.
Wow.
That's it, Teresa? Can't help it.
When Teresa speaks on the National Wake Up Call next month, we'll all know why.
Exactly.
Oh my
6
God.
for Robin, 12 for Leslie. She and Leslie are going to tag team it.
Look at that.
Beachbody Champions training.
Damn. Okay, I'm taking off work when you ladies are on it.
Way to
And I
go.
never take off work, so.
I love it. That was weird, Robin. You said way to go while I was reading Teresa typing way to go, and it felt like, did I say that out loud? It like tripped me out. I was like, I couldn't figure that out. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, I have a couple of things to go through tonight. I'm going to keep it pretty tutorial-ish, I guess we should say. I'm still just loving everything that came from the retreat and want to keep those kinds of dialogues going. So, you know, collaboration and sharing with one another. Continue to reach out with anybody on the team that shared something they're struggling with that you want or had some advice with, or just that you feel connected to as a result. And remember that this could be a great community for you to work towards something that's not just business related or not just Instagram related or what have you. I mean, Teresa and I are taking a financial course together. I'm sure it's going to help our business, but it's just for our personal lives. And it was something that we both had in common that day. And we took ownership of that together and found the accountability in doing that together. So just think about the ways that, you know, we can pull our community as a resource, not just in business, but in life, and that will then help our business. And when our business is good, it'll help our life, and everything is just going to be super, super cyclical. Remember, keep in mind that summit is exactly 1 month away. So the virtual summit, they've been putting up different timelines and different calendars of events and such. So stay tuned to all of that. I don't anticipate everybody sitting at their computer for 4 straight days, but making sure that you're focused on finding time to participate in what's important to you, and what can be helpful to you or your business will just be helpful to you and your business. So stay tuned for that. I had posted this in Tribe, and I invited a couple of you who had interacted with that or talked to me about it, that I'll be hosting a sneak peek on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, just an informal kind of group to get a group back and going. And it'll be happening the 4th week of every month moving forward. But if anybody wants to collaborate, wants to just participate, has people they want to send there, just reach out to me and we can make that happen. I'm going to be talking to Brittany and with Stephanie Baez about what we're going to do to make that work. But if you want to jump in, the more the merrier. And it can just be kind of a nice place. So even if you're running them yourself or haven't in a while or whatever, and there's just a month where you have someone interested and you don't have the energy or the time to throw someone in, it'll just be up and living and breathing, and you are welcome to utilize it. So once it's stocked with content, I will be letting everybody know, but I'm pretty sure I shared it in Tribe. Now I'm losing my brain. Anyway, also we updated our Power Hour link. I posted this as well, but the 1 p.m. link matches the 4:30 a.m. link, just so that it's unlimited and everybody can be on it multiple times. Leslie's awesome and has our workout link open for 24 hours. And so if someone's working out, regardless of which group they're in, if they have that 24-hour workout link and one of us went through a 1 p.m. Power Hour, it wasn't working. So now that school's over and my classes don't need to be worried about interfering, it's good. Power Hour is one link for those at times. And if you guys doing Power Hours at other times want to do that, so you have that full hour for your Zoom, then please use that link. That's what it's there for. Unless it's during our accountability call or our Tribe Redefine team call, you should be good to go. I'm going to be earmarking 12:30 to 2:30 during the week for myself for business time. I've discovered in the mornings with 80 Day Obsession, I'm just personally not able to get up and function and get a real good power hour in. So that's the time I like to do check-ins, check my email, check my messages, kind of clean out my inbox and do all that stuff. And then really jump into a power hour from 1 to 2. From 12:30 to 1 o'clock, I was doing my coach office stuff, contacting new customers, doing all those kinds of things. And then after that was just kind of filling in the missing pieces. That's when I launched the group and got that together. So I will be on from those periods of time, Monday through Wednesday, and then again on Friday. And from 1 to 2, I will play an action hour if you're interested. So jump in for 5 minutes, for 15 minutes, or 20 minutes. You have a question for me, you want to chat. Today, Robin and Brittany and I were on. It was awesome. Just good, quiet work time, just getting our stuff done. So that's going to be my summer routine. As of now, I don't have anywhere to go. We're in the summer still. So that's what I'm committing to. But even if I can't be on, it should be set where anybody can share their screen. Anybody can start the meeting. So if you pop in and I'm not there and Emmy wants to start an action hour, she can do just that. Get it shared and push play and whatever. Okay, so now for the real things. 2 little itty bitty trainings. I want to share with you something from Stories That Stick. Did anybody else get this or start reading it after we listen to her speak? Because I don't want to be redundant. And then also I have a slideshow I'm going to walk you guys through with Instagram collections, because I notice it's something that a lot of the Power Hours reference, and maybe we know what they are, maybe you don't, but I just figured putting something together that we can share with our new coaches, and that could easily walk them through what a collection is and how to make one. So anyway, Stories That Stick. In the very beginning of this book, Kendra tells a story about how she was in Slovenia with her husband a couple of years ago, and that was when she really started to realize the power of stories with sales. Her background is in improv, so she was sharing about fear, overcoming fear and confidence building and all of these little things like all the other gurus we were talking about. And she would live in stories and find the importance in stories, but it wasn't until this experience that she made the connection that what she really needs to do is share with the world how stories really influence your business. And you know that speaks to me as an English teacher. I know I've shared with you guys some tips on stories before. I did the whole story pyramid with you guys one time. I've gone through different acronyms. I've talked about the conflict resolution. Like, I've done the English teachery thing. But I want to use an anecdote from her book that explained that significance for her and how that story kind of transpired for them. So they were walking through the streets of Slovenia, and she said they were, stopping and getting wine. It was Thanksgiving weekend. So it was not Thanksgiving there, obviously, Thanksgiving back in the States, but it was holiday season. So the Christmas lights were up, and Christmas in Slovenia apparently is very significant. So they really start their celebrating early, and they were going wine hopping. And if you follow Kendra Hall on Instagram, that's true to her brand. Like, she is constantly sharing about all the outdoor New York City bars that she's going to. So I already knew that this was a true story because that's what her Instagram shows as well. And she says that they're, stopping, getting wine here, getting a cocktail there, strolling. And every time they pass by a shop, her eyes immediately get drawn to the window. And her husband's eyes get immediately drawn to the signs looking for the next liquor place, because she likes to shop. He does not care. And she said every time they were passing a place where her eyes were caught by these sparkly shoes, and she'd say to him, "Can we stop in here?" And he would just keep on walking. And then they'd be walking a little bit further, and there was this awesome ornate bag in the window. "Can I take a peek at how much that costs?" And he would just keep on walking. And she said she realized it wasn't that he was ignoring her on purpose. He just has a one-track mind. Shopping doesn't interest him. He kind of tunes out that hustle and bustle. But finally, there was this pair of must-have strappy sandals that she saw in a window. She grabbed his arm. She's like, "We're going into this store." So he hems and haws and stands outside the store. He's like, "I'm just going to stand here scouting out for a wine, and you can go do your thing." She said before she got even inside the door, she noticed that the shoes were actually quite ugly. Once they got, she saw them through the glass, and they weren't nearly what she was expecting. So she didn't take much time to kind of nicely loop through the store and come back out. And in that time, her husband ended up in a conversation with a salesman right at the entrance of this store. They were also selling fragrances. And she said her husband, who tuned her out the whole time, doesn't shop. She jokes in the book that he probably doesn't even own a wallet because he just doesn't buy anything, is suddenly like asking her if she has her currency so they could buy this cologne. And she's like, why do you want to buy this cologne? He goes, because it's JFK's cologne. And the cologne was called 8 and Bob. And when JFK traveled to Slovenia, the salesman told him, well, she didn't say JFK, so there was a wealthy American businessman who traveled to Slovenia often. And when he would stop in this village, he had to get this cologne. And he always came back, and every time he'd come back, he'd have to get an extra bottle. And one time he said, I need 8 and 1 for Bob. And so they changed the whole name of the thing as 8 and 1 for Bob, because it was just such a fun story that this guy had to travel to Slovenia for this fragrance. And the salesman says to her husband, do you know who Bob is? He's like, how would I know who Bob is? He goes, well, our salesman's name was John. You often call him Jay. And he's like, JFK? He's like, yes. And Bob is his brother, Robert. He knew he had to get them for his 8 employees, and he also had to get one for Bob. And suddenly her husband's like, I have to have this cologne. He hadn't even smelled it, hadn't even opened the bottle. And the salesman says, you know what? We're actually out of stock. How long are you in Slovenia for? She said her husband got all flustered. He's like, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to check on your stock and stuff. So as they're heading back to their hotel and getting all this wine on the way, she said it wasn't the wine, it was the story that made her husband say to her, I think we need to get this cologne in the States. Like, I can see distribution channels, and I can see, you know, the brand growing out of this story. And he was so pumped about it. And the next day they headed right back to that shop. And there was a woman there this time working. He's like, do you have any 8 and Bob in stock? She's like, of course we don't. We always run out of that. And he's like, I just find the story so fascinating. And she said something, I don't even recall what it was, about how, oh yeah, because it's like the cheapest cologne we sell, or something, just something completely random. And he got all defeated and walked away. And she said it was then that she realized the power of story. Because her husband wanted nothing to do with shopping, wanted nothing to do with cologne. And here he was ready to pitch a business around this guy's story, because it was so detailed and so convincing and so specific. And it created a need that her husband didn't even have. And so I want us to consider that a little bit when we're sharing. I've talked often, and the National Wake Up Calls talk often, you know, about finding your solution, right? Finding the solution to your problem. What was it that attracted you to Beachbody programs, to attracted you to coaching, to attracted you to your coach, to attracted you to this specific fitness program, or to Shakeology or whatever? But sometimes we have to create that need. We have to create that potential missing link. And I'm seeing that a lot, and I don't want to get this to make this heavy or twisted or anything, but just in everything that's kind of going on in our world, in our country today, in our lives, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's the upcoming election, whether it's, you know, you name a bazillion things that are just happening and taking over our world, distance learning, etc. Identifying the real need that people have, not just the problem of I've been stuck in this house with my kids forever, or I don't really understand these protests and looters, or I don't really know why, you know, Fox News says one thing and CNN says another. But coming up with a potential solution for a problem that people might see gentler or more appealing to them than the problem that they have or don't even realize they have. And so what I mean is thinking of like, I just had an idea and I kind of lost it. I never write down these, I like have my outline and then I just kind of think about it. But I keep coming back to Black Lives Matter and anti-racism and all of the ways that many of us are learning and trying to educate ourselves. It's not a problem a couple weeks ago that I would have ever thought was mine. But I'm finding so much new knowledge that I'm seeing potential growth points that I didn't even realize existed. And so being people who can share to our customers, to our followers, gently about what it is that they might need in their life that they don't realize they need. They might need this podcast. Maybe you woke up this morning bright-tailed and bushy-eyed and ready to take on the day. You still should listen to this podcast because Lori Harder is going to rock your world, because she's going to point out all of the ways that today might not go according to your plan, even though you're in your chipper mood, and she's going to teach you how to come across it. This morning, Jackie woke up and told me about a post that Shalene Johnson posted that I didn't know I needed to read, but I read it and it made a lot of sense to me. So when we see things, when we learn things, when we experience things, maybe it's not a problem we were needing to solve, but if it's a potential solution to someone else's potential problem, find your way to weave that into a story, and there's story enough, and there's post enough. It's a pretty neat book. I'm going to share some more excerpts and go into a little bit more detail as I go. I'm not super far into it, but she breaks down by chapter how it's going to go. And some of them are very cool with you understanding the way your story has impacted who you are and how your stories can impact what you sell and how you sell. So I'll be sure to keep those things coming, but just something to consider, that there's a thin line between preaching and selling and sharing a story. And it doesn't always have to be our story. It could be someone else's. It can be anecdotal, and it can still have a lot of resonance with other people. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because I have a slideshow on collections. All right, hoping this works. I also downloaded it as a PDF, and I'll be putting these slides into, I gotta get rid of you guys for a second. I'll be putting these slides into, this is the last one, I'm on the wrong slide, as a PDF into Tribe. Okay, here we go. So Instagram collections. If you do not know what Instagram collections are, I'm going to explain those to you. I'm going to explain the purpose of them. If you do know what they are, perhaps one of the ways that I use it might be new to you. If not, at least this is a resource that can help you walk through other people in the future. Okay, so Instagram collections, first off, how I use them and why they're important. I see 5 main buckets of use for Instagram collections. This doesn't mean I have 5 collections. I'll share the type that I have, but this is the way that I utilize my connections. So first off, I would say tracking. Collections do help me track my followers and who's following me back, who I've tried to initiate a following with and who hasn't. It's much faster than writing things down when it comes to follow and who's not following me, and I'll show you what I mean by that. How to create consistent engagement. It's not just willy-nilly or by whoever Instagram tells me to engage with, but based on my collections, I can really have focused engagement. Make more connections, very similar to engagement, but I look at engagement as I'm liking a couple of your posts, you're liking a couple of mine, we're kind of playing the flirting game. Where connections is, now that I've had you in my collection for a specific purpose, maybe I'm going to go into your DMs and I'm going to start messaging you, or I'm going to be leaving more specific comments with questions, or the way that we interact is going to get more than just engagement to see if you continue to flirt back, but actually something deeper. Post ideas, which is my favorite bonus tip. I'm going to share at the very end what I mean by that. And follow-ups. So you can create a separate collection for people you want to follow up with, but I use this mostly in my coach invites, and I'll show you what that looks like for me. Okay, so first things first. I suggest, and this is a screenshot of my collections that are hot right now, meaning ones that I've added to. Leanne, look, I just loved that picture of you, and I told you I was going to save that comment that you wrote, and I did. Because it resonated with me. So there, I wasn't lying. But the 2 collections that I suggest you have, and you can see mine here, are monthly coach prospects. So I have June coach. If you scroll down, I have May coach. This is actually May coach right here. You know, April coach, etc. I've only been doing this way for a couple of months. And then my new follows. So that's where June follows comes in. Now, what I want you to understand is it's different in each of these collections. In my June coach collection, when I open that collection, I see posts from the people that I am prospecting as coaches. That doesn't mean they know I'm prospecting them as coaches. I'm just getting a feel for them. Do I really feel interested in them? Do they seem like a good fit? Am I ready to invite them yet? Am I not? But I'm going to keep checking that bucket and keep going back and interacting with their posts. My monthly new follows are actually people I'm already following, or photos I'm already following that I have searched followers from. And I will show you what that looks like. So this right here is a picture of a girl I grew up with, Gina's kids. I've been a follower of her. She's been a follower of me. Nothing's new. But I use this photo to find new followers, and now I can easily engage back with them when I revisit that photo. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. So now where do I find my collections in case this is totally brand new for you? You're going to go to your bio, and you're going to click on these 3 lines. This will pop up, and you will go to this saved tab. It looks like a flag. And that is where you will find your collection. So when I want to revisit them, I can find them there. You can also name collections right in there. You can also name collections when you're first saving a photo, but that's where you can manipulate your collections. And you can move people around. So if I had someone in my June followers, and now from there, I want to move them into coaching, because now that I've been interacting with their posts so much, I realize actually I think they'd be a good coach, I can move them, and so on. All right, the next thing. Oh, I went too fast. All right, how do I save to my collections and what do I do with them really? So first things first, very simple. I see a photo that I like for whichever reason. Maybe this is somebody new that I'm following, or excuse me, that's really intriguing. Well, let me slow down for a second. All right, let's pretend this is someone I want to be a coach. I'm gonna click on this little white flag. I didn't take a picture of this part, but a little like menu comes up asking me which collection I want to add it to, and I will add it to my June coaches right now if that was the case. This photo though, when I saved it, I added it to June followers because it had a lot of likes, it had a lot of comments, and that's when then I'm going to open up the likers and I'm going to scroll through here to start following people. I'm going to go through the comments and I'm going to scroll through here to start following people. And then in a day or two, when I'm engaging, so this is when I'm building my network, but when I'm in my interactions and engagement time, I will go back to my June follows collection, as you can see up here. I will go from photo to photo and I will do the same thing. I will open up the likers. At this point, and I didn't get a photo that had this, but if this girl was private and I chose to follow her and it still said requested, I'd probably cancel my request. But now I know that these girls followed, or I'm following these people. I will click on them. I will see if they're following me back. If they're following me back, I will interact. If they're not following me back, but I really liked them, I might interact and stay following them at least one more day or 2 more days. And then if they don't follow me back and don't interact back, then I'll unfollow them if I want to. Maybe I really like them. Maybe they're cool. Maybe I just want to look at their clothes or their adorable home decor. Maybe I will stay following them. But if I don't want to, after a couple of days, I will start weeding through this. But going through one photo or one person's account and a few photos within it is a really concise and organized way for you to follow and build your following, while then having a clean way to follow up with those people and create that engagement, to create those connections eventually, and then to hopefully can create those invitations. Are there any questions so far? Because I can't see anybody and I want to make sure I'm not going too fast. Glorious. All right, I'm going to keep going. All right, the last tip I wanted to share with you, and this isn't about building my network, but it's one of my tips for having content. I've shared before that I have saved posts in my Instagram. So when I have a couple of minutes, I will save a post that I'm not quite ready to share, or a photo that I really like and I'll edit it and just keep it in there so I have some quick content. Or when my Facebook memories come up from 2018 and I really liked my content, I might snag it, put it in my saved posts on Instagram. But what I'm talking about is a way to have stories to share when you're in a pinch. So I have a collection called Posts. And here's where I put quotes, cool articles that other people are linking, insights that are really neat, infographics that are really cool. And I will add them here if I think they would be good for me to share eventually. Now, because I don't want to be redundant, if I go back to my posts, because it's been a couple hours, I haven't shared anything on Instagram, but I'm in the middle of a school day and I don't want them to see that I'm actually on the couch watching Sweet Magnolias when I should be teaching, I'm going to go here, I'm going to find a cool infographic about anxiety, and I'm going to share it. When I'm done doing that, I'll either remove it from my collection, or if it's something personally that I want to revisit just because it meant something to me, like Leanne's post really truly had great tips that I needed to read, I would then move that to the me section. That's just me. I just like these posts. As you can tell, it's Glennon Doyle and no one is surprised. It's one of her morning meetings, my morning meetings, that I just adored and wanted to listen to again. So I like to save things that are going to be inspirational to me or I might need in the long run. But these are posts for me to go to and share in my Instagram stories when I need something in a pinch. All right. That's how I use my collections. There's so many ways that you can do it. I've just found that organized. You can also create a list for those people you're interacting with. You can create a list for those people that You know, you're inviting to a free group or a challenge group. You can make collections however you would like. That's how I do it. I keep it nice and simple. I use instead for how I'm organizing people that I'm following up, the primary and what is it called? The primary and general inbox. My general inbox is where I try to keep my hot list of people, and my primary inbox is just everybody that I'm genuinely in a convo with, but maybe it's not going to information. That's how I like to do it. But there's 100 ways. I am not the boss. I have not perfected this, but for the last few months, that's how I've done collections, and it really does make a difference. All right. Okay, so our action item tonight, I know this will come as a surprise, is to use collections. Maybe you need to create collections. Maybe you already have them and you could cultivate them a little bit more. Maybe you can go through your posts that have been interacted with and start putting some of those people into collections. Maybe it's a coach that you like. When I'm doing my coaches also, I try to make sure that I save a picture of the coach follow or the monthly coaches. I try to make sure it's a photo of them, because in the past, it would just be like the most recent picture I saw of them. And then I'm like, why do I have this picture of a cat? Like, I don't even know who this person is. I don't even remember why. But it's usually a picture of that person if you can find it. So we even might have to scroll down a little bit to save something of them. I know it's kind of stalkerish, but, you know, it's what Instagram is for, social media, when you're social media marketing. So use collections, have a good time doing just that. And, you know, that's it. That's the meeting. My chair is really squeaky. Anybody here use collections already? Nice.
Not well, but that was helpful. Thank you.